Yeah, are we good now? Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Um, yeah, happy Good Friday to everybody. What's going on? How are you guys doing? Today we are going to be modeling something from the list, and if you can see my screen, we're going to be taking on the walkie-talkie today. What I just want to make sure I quickly do is ensure that stream on YouTube is good, right? I'm not streaming to Instagram right now because I feel like, hmm, I don't know, not working for me right now. But I feel like YouTube is working. It's good. So I'm just going to make sure I'm transmitting properly, and let's just see if audio is good, video is good, audio is good. Simulation Metaverse, shout out to you for jumping on stream. Your your original in Mandarin or Chinese, and I'm not sure how to translate this, but if you could translate that to English for me, that would be great. Yeah, I'm going to go on to what we have for modeling today. Um, Today we are going to be modeling a walkie-talkie, and I already have references loaded in already. I have the front view, I have the back, I also have the side right here. So I'm going to bring in a cube. I'm going to start with a cube first of all. And without applying scale, I'm going to round off the edges. So I'm going to SX, and I think also to this side. Okay, I think this ought to be back. So when I come here, I should be able to see this. So off to the side, I want to make sure that this is the right scale too. Okay, that's good. First of all, I think I want to bevel this. So I'm going to bevel this part just like so. And then I'll take this part and also just bevel those. So I think this is the basic shape for this walkie-talkie, except that I need to make sure that these lines connects properly. So I'm going to J on this side and then join on this side. And yeah, I'm going to utilize the hard ups box cutter tool to quickly mirror that effect and apply. Now we are able to add loops on this side, but we are not able to add loops on this side the way we want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to vertex select. I'm going to join right here, and I'm going to join right here. So this is good. I'm going to mirror this to the other side as I would usually do, and then apply that mirror. So next up, I think to the side, something that I want to do is add in a loop cut right around here. And the reason I want to do that is that I want to select this part and then switch to active element, because I want to select all of this and then rotate from the active element. So the active element is going to be on this side. So I want to rotate this in just a little bit. So that's good. I'm going to take this entire edge. I'm going to make the selection like so. And this entire edge is going to have a chamfer. So it's not going to be like a bevel, it's going to be one-sided chamfer, just like so. So I want to undo all of that rotation I did initially, because I feel like the chamfer is not coming out the way I want. So I'm going to reselect all of that and then create that chamfer just like so. I think this part here, right here, is good enough for it. So what I'm going to do is halfway through the chamfer, instead of going all the way, I'll take this and GX in, and then this part I would, let me go to the back first of all. So I'll take 1/2 of this and GX, and then GZ a little bit on that. So I'm going to take all of that and flip to the other side, and that is cool. This I'm going to dissolve that edge, and if you notice this part right here, I'm going to dissolve this. You'd see that this entire edge right here needs to come up. So I'll just bring this up, I think up to around this point. Scale this down a little. That's cool. To the side, I'm going to GY. Bring this in. I can add that to that point. And what I want to do with this is just create this curvature a little bit. Then with this, I'm going to take all of the vertices on this side and just GX or GY rather. So that's cool. Okay with this shape. Next up I am going to do is, I think I'm just going to work on the front first of all. So for the front, I want to first of all select this and SX0, straighten that mesh, mirror to the other side, and I think this is just going to be insets. So let me see if I can pull up all of that reference on the side so I can see it plainly. I think I'm looking at the front. So we're going to insert first of all, and then we'll create this outer shape. Image editor. Then I'll select all of this first of all. Then insets. Take those. I would insert those. Think to somewhere around here. That's cool. With that, I can maybe undo that. Insert, and that's cool. First of all, I want to take all of these points and just kind of just move it into position. Right. So a direct insert is not giving me what I want, so I'll have to just get to it manually, basically. So just like so. G, and then G on this side. So I'm going to look at it from this angle, and yeah, I think it's good, right? So I'm going to GG, bring this up to this point. Then with this, I can flip to the other side and apply mirror. Right around here, I think I'm just going to scale this a little bit so it's not so far away from each other. Then I can take this inner shape, right? And I think it's an inset, then an extrusion in, then I'll scale it down. So it's an inset, extrusion in, then I can scale that down. So that's what that looks like to me. I will take this, and before I go any further, I want to add in a loop cut right here, right? Or I can extrude all of this once, add in a loop cut, then I can take this loop again and extrude it. So that's what that inner part looks like to me. This is looking really boxy, and I feel like that's because I didn't treat this front part. So this front part right here, I'm going to select this edge and I'll select the whole thing. I'm going to do a chamfer for this. So it's going to look something like this, and I'm going to take this entire edge and just move it backward. Take the entire edge and I'm just going to GY. So that's cool. That looks like fire so far, and I like it. So I probably want to start bringing in bevel, but first of all, I'm going to start with. So there's something I'm seeing that doesn't look right to me, and that's this part right here, right? So I'm either going to absorb it into the shape, or I'm going to dissolve that edge. Yeah. Even this edge, so I pray I'm going to dissolve it. If it gives me any kind of problem, I'm going to dissolve that. I just want to go back to. Oh, I'm so sorry. Simulation in metaverse. I apologize. I said Mandarin. Meanwhile, I'm from Korea, so forgive me. Let me look for forgive me. Aware. Um, English to Korea. Let's try this. Yep. There's no way I can even pronounce this. Like, I might just get the intonation really wrong. So I'm just going to copy that and drop that on charts. Put a little emoji to that. Hopefully there's no wrong cultural context to using an emoji over there in Korea, but yeah. I also would like to see what you typed here. So maybe I'll make all of those translation, flip this over. Oh, he said hello. Hello to you too. What's the second one? Let me see. Nice to meet you. Let me type it's a pleasure to meet you as a reply. It's a pleasure to meet you, bro. Yep. That's it. Yep. Message sent. I don't know if it's still on stream or it's not. If it's not, it's good. It's fine. There is no problemo. But if he is, I hope he gets those messages. It's good. It's fine. There is no problemo. But if he is, I hope he gets those messages. All right. Next up. I am going to model the buttons in front. There's something here that needs to be modeled too. I don't know. I'll attend to that. If I don't attend to that this now, I'll forget. I'll miss it. I won't miss it in Jesus' name. So I'm just going to add loops right here. Add one. I was thinking I was going to use what you call it, boolean, but there's no point using a boolean at this for something like this. So that's cool. I'll select all of that, and I really would like to bevel these edges just like so, like do something like this. I want to, and then bevel all of that. Right? Then if I add in a subdivision on this, let me add in a general bevel first of all. Let me add in an individual bevel. so. We're going to bevel this, right? And then I can put in a sub D on that and everything holds up. The only thing that doesn't hold up, obviously, is this, because it needs a supporting loop. So I'm going to do an offset part, just like so. And I feel like I want to add support loops on the sides. That's cool. Right here, I'll just put in a little bit of a bevel. And that works. So I'm GZZ or YY. So I just basically want to move this backward a little bit, so I can just move that in manually. I don't need to do that with some kind of a grid movement. Right here, I'm going to bevel this, select this face and just shade these flats. So buttons in front, first of all, I'm going to create space for those buttons. And this line that is running through is just, it's not it, bro. Like, nah, this shouldn't happen like this. Okay. I'm going to scale this up like so, and this entire loop I will GZ up to this point. Then I can scale this significantly, and I'll add in another loop on this side, and I can take this also, I can GZ and scale that significantly. So this is a good start for the first button. I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to insert. Maybe I can apply scale right now on this. So I can insert. I can subdivide just once, and I can turn this into a circle. Scale that circle down. So let's say somewhere around here. Right now, this I'm going to GG. This I'm going to GG. So I can select this face, right? And I can extrude this a little bit, right? I think this is how the shape was formed, because it's not like a direct kind of extrusion. It has like a special shape language to it. With that done, I'm going to insert this, right? And then I'll extrude this once, extrude this again, and just insert a little bit. So that's cool. Right here, I'm going to add in a loop and just connect these two with join. I'm going to connect these two with join. So this is a very, very good shape. I really like this. And I don't know why this is not blending properly, but I'm going to increase the angle on this, and it's blending properly. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this shape in here, duplicate that, P to separate that selection. I'm going to select all of that and just extrude all of that outward like so. So we have that. I'm going to select boundary loops, right? And just going to bevel. With that bevel, I'm going to select boundary loops again, and I'm going to add another bevel to make that chamfer just tighter and much more obvious. So right here, I'm going to select this. I'm going to go to select and select boundary loops, right? And bevel that just like so. So there's something I'm saying that is a little bit wrong right here. I'm going to undo all the way to this top. As a matter of fact, before I go any further, I'm just going to bevel the back side of this. So this is going to be select boundary loops and just bevel that. Right. I'm going to select this first. Then I'm going to turn this into a circle. But I think it's already a circle. So I'm just going to do boundary loops. Right. Bevel that into a chamfer. Then I think I'll do circle again. Then this also circle. Then I'm going to select those boundary loops and then turn that into a chamfer. Let's see if it holds up this time around. Okay, so that's good. I like that. I think this inner part needs to go GY even more. So that's cool. I think I do not want to do all of this process again. So, let's see. I don't know if I can duplicate this across. I doubt, but I'm just going to try. Like Shift D Z and just try to connect things after the fact. Then, so we're going to have something like this, right? Before I make that duplication, I'm going to delete this vertex. So there's a hole down here. So with this, I can Shift D and Z. That's good. Looks like I can just fill this, select this edge and fill. Nope. I have to add a loop right here. So I'm going to have to fill like so. Then this, I'm going to fill. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm going to fill this. Then this part right here, this entire. Let me turn off the subdivision a little bit. Oh, okay. This whole thing is opened actually. So I don't think there's any need for that loop. And the back too is open. So I have to be done and just close up that back because I don't need that back to be opened like so. So I'm going to add in, I don't think I need to even add in any. Let me just continue on this side. Fill right here. I'm going to add in one loop. I think one more would be appropriate. Right here, I'll fill, and then fill. That's great. Right here, I'm going to select this entire delete vertex, come to the front, going to select this entire face, just like so, and I can Shift D and Z on this just a little, and a little bit more. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. So with this, I can GZ down a little bit. I can fill, and with this, I can fill, and I can maybe add in a loop right here that would help me connect this. Connect. I'll add in one more loop here. Connect, and that is good. But for this part, I'm already looking at this, and I feel like this loop count is too much to connect this two like so. So, okay. It's not much like that actually. What I can do is GG this down, scale it, and then make this into a face. So that's going to be like a redirect loop, and we're able to connect this easily. Then I can flip this to the other side and apply that mirror. So that's good for the buttons in front, right? I don't know what the attachment style is on top here for the antenna, but I'm just going to do something like this. Nope. So I'm going to select this entire face. First of all, I'm going to insert it, and I feel like turning it into a circle actually. Looking at it from the right hand side or from the back, let me see. So it looks like there's a circular kind of base that it has. So I think in order to achieve that, let me see if I can do it like this. Select this entire part, insert on all of those, turn that into a circle, go to the top view and rotate this just like so. I'm going to scale this down to this point, and then I can GZ SC0 GZ and extrude on the Z axis. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm just going to have to try. Add. Nope. Doesn't look good. Doesn't mean I have to add a cylinder to this. Doesn't mean I have to add a cylinder to this. Let's see. I'm going to let me fill out this with grid fill first. Okay. Then I'm going to add in a cylinder, but this cylinder is going to be a very, very low poly cylinder. As a matter of fact, let me select this part again. I'm going to bring cursor to selected, and I'm going to add in a cylinder. I think this cylinder has to be like how many sides? Let's do 8 sides first. All right, scale that down. And I think it can be somewhere here. GZ. I'm going to select the down part and just scale a little bit. So that's cool. I'm going to select this and then join. Or maybe I'm even supposed to union. I'm going to union both of them. So I'm going to undo all of that. And the joining style I'm going to use is boolean and then union. So the moment I apply this boolean, would see that there are new vertices created around here. So I'm going to try to, join all of these vertices and clean up the entire line. It's going to be tricky on this side because we have a bevel right here. So I think this, I'm going to join this at last right here. Same with this. Now I'm looking at this. I don't think an 8-sided cylinder is going to work, but let me just go on. And the reason I just want to go on is I want to see where this goes. GG. I'm going to join this. Right here, I'll add 2. Join. If I GC, bring that down. If I select this vertex and join to this, select this and then join to this. I can select this entire loop and just dissolve that edge. Okay, I like what the joining here is looking like. So I'm going to undo that and just continue with all of that. Right here, see some kind of a weird joining. So I'm going to take this GG and I'm going to make this loop correctly instead of cutting off at that point. Right, that's cool. Then these two edges are going to be out. Dissolve edge. I think this is going to merge at last year and this is going to merge at last year. So I'm going to this is going to merge at last year. So right here, I can join this to this edge. And then this shouldn't be lying fallow actually. So I'm just going to join to this one. So I feel like I should be able to, let me select this and see. Select this and see. I can select this and then merge at last. What if I select the entire loop? Can I select the entire loop? Nope. Doesn't mean that I have double vertices here. Okay, I have an unjoined vertex here. So maybe I should do merge by distance first of all, then see what's going on here. Can I add a loop down here, then join this, then do the same with this? Right, so let's be able, nope, I'm not able to select the entire loop. That's insane actually. But this topology, I don't think it's looking any bad at all. Like I can GX this out of the way and then I'll just go and select my thing one by one. Like I don't need to have it automatically select. Right, so we have this, I can add in that bevel. And if I bring in my sub D holds up well. So I can go to the face and GZ this all the way to the top. So I can go to the front right here and this is going to be GZ'd all the way to this point. So I can scale that down, GZ. And I think next up I'm going to do is select boundary loops and just bevel. Easy. But I think up here we need to turn this into a circle basically. And then we can bevel. So that's cool. I'm going to shade auto smooth and this our cutter can be gone. See something back here. Something horrible. I know what caused it. Is the turning into circle that caused it. So I'm going to undo all of that and what can I do? Can I use holding loops instead of a bevel to create that shape? I don't think so. What about I dissolve some of this at maybe like I terminate that loop around this area. So it's going to be something like this, GG. This terminates here. I can join these two, select these two, dissolve that edge. Then we officially have only one going up to the top. Then when we get here, we'll do the same operation again. Select these two, join. And then these two are going to be dissolved edges and we have nothing getting to the top. Forms a weird shading actually. So you see this entire loop right here. See this entire thing. I'm going to dissolve all of it into just one. And that would effectively affect like the holding loop we created here, actually. So right here, I can dissolve edges. Right here, I can add in an edge, select this, and then join. Let's try again and see. I think I have to go through this process again, actually. And the earlier I go through it, the better. It looks like this doesn't even have to go all the way to the top, right? So this part, I can delete that vertices, right? And then this, can I grid fill this? Let me see. I can, but it's not looking the way it should. So can I undo all the way back to this point? And then you see this top, I can SZ0, then bring it down to the surface. I'll undo all of that, select another loop and extrude on the Z along the prime same angle. I can SZ0 on that, GZ down. And what this is going to do is going to serve as a starting point right around here. This is all vertices. I'm going to extrude on the Z. SZ0 GZ. That's cool. With this, I can fill and then make the top tighter. But this is supposed to flow through the shape, like not supposed to have a separate extrusion of its own. So do I have to cool SZ0 GC. It's kind of a tricky one to figure out, actually. Really, really tricky. And it looks like a regular, it looks like a common joining using mechanics. But I'm not able to figure it out. Let me see. Hmm. I'm going to join this at last. This. Okay. So all of this part right here, can I take that and with this as the active, in fact, with this, no. Can I go to side view and just move things up to line up to the shape? Right, something like this. And then you see this space right here. I want to just join this, but won't be able to have our circle with that. So can I do GG and then C to push away from that? Then select this entire loop. Can I extrude on the Z? SZ is 0. Can I bring in? Okay. I like that this looks better actually. But I'm looking at this. I don't know if this needs to follow this way instead. So this part, I'm going to dissolve those edges, select this and GX out of the way. As a matter of fact, I would select with this and just with those and just GX. So let me turn back on. There's something weird happening here that is making this part not to look good. Could it be redirecting this loop like so? And then dissolving this, let's see. What if I dissolve this edge? That's fine, actually. The only thing now that is my concern is, you see this loop right here? If I tighten that up, will it give me the shape that I want? If I tighten this up. I think it does. The only thing now is that I keep running into the same problem. Like, if I delete this top, will I be able to fill this with, let's say, grid fill? Nope. Hmm. So this part has been kicking my ass like crazy, but I'm going to figure it out. Hmm. Nope. Fill. I'm going to take this, join at last. Then this, fill. I'm going to take this, join at last. Right? But it's almost like we lose the circular shape with this. Dissolve, join, join. Then, can I take this face, dissolve all of this, and then, can I fill? Nope. Yep. And fill. Then, I'm going to have to add in a loop down here, but this is concave in a way that doesn't show the flow on the side. So I'm going to see if I can relax this part. Nope. So I'm losing the curvature of this thing, and it's not really nice. I have the shape that I want to do right here, but like this place is just a mess. So what I can do, let me see. I'm going to deselect all this part and delete it. Delete the faces first of all. Then I'm going to select this and I'm going to extrude from the side view, from this side. So we actually get the curvature that we need. So as a matter of fact, I feel like the issue even starts from here. So I'm going to Alt S, bring this out. So on the side, we can extrude one and then merge at last on this side. Right, that's cool. Then on this, we can select this four and just fill those. Then we can select this and do the same extrusion. Extrude to this side, terminate on the side, and then merge at last. So we'll do this fill right here. Can fill. If I add in sub-D on this, it makes here smoother. That's good. I'm happy about that. Then right here, can I just, as a matter of fact, I'm going to use this as an active element reference point. Look, I don't even need to, they're in the same place. So I can fill, then select this point, and then fill. So I like this actually. What I can do is select this just like so, and then I can insert. But before I do that, let me make sure that I get this shape under subdivision really nicely. So you see this entire part under the influence of the sub-D. I'm going to add a min crease to it, but the min crease is not even communicating the shape properly, so I'm going to do a bevel. These parts too are supposed to be beveled. So I'm going to do the bevel like so. Can I add this to the bevel? Let's see. This took a long time to achieve this shape. It took a long time. That's why I probably need to model more. Because if I had seen that shape before and I had dealt with it somewhere else, it shouldn't. I mean, if I'd seen that somewhere else and I'd done it before, I wouldn't have taken so long to like model that. That's like a long time. That took almost like 15 minutes of my time. And I'd done it before. So that's cool. Next up, I'm just going to go on to creating this shape. I think I'm going to start with duplicating this. This is definitely not a circle. I'm going to turn that into a circle. Scale that down. GZ. And on the side right here, I can extrude SZ0, extrude, S Shift Z. I'm going to select all of this, GZ, and then I'm going to GZ all the way to the top right here. Scale that down. I'm going to add in an edge loop. I'm going to add in one more on this side. And then this part, I'm going to extrude along the mouse. Just all the way in. Add in support loop on this side and then support on this side too. So that's cool. Right here, I can select boundary loops. Bevel that's just like so. So that's cool for that part. If this part took me this much time, I wonder how long this part is going to take me. But I don't think this part is going to take so much time because it looks like it's attached to, like I can literally just select this, insert, turn that into a circle and extrude that shape out, like something like this. And that's if I even need to turn it into a circle going like. Do I need to scale this down from the boundary loops? I mean from the boundary box. Yes, I think I do. So on the side here, I can extrude this to the Z, but so I can G or easy all the way to this point SZ0 GZ. That's cool. Right here, I can add in. Does that need a support loop at all? Yeah, it does. It does need a support loop like mad. So that's cool. I think this top is not that important. I think the really important part has to be this cap. So I'm going to select, put a loop down here, select this entire thing, Shift D, separate that S Shift Z, right? I can select this, scale this down, and GC. So I can just fill that bevel. That's cool. I think this continues into this mesh actually. So these two are, they're actually one. I'm going to delete all these vertices and I'm going to bridge these two. That's cool. So right here, they're going to be holding loops to hold up that shape. the grooves that we have in here, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. This faces, let me see how many. Faces is 10. That's quite surprising, actually. But it's also a good thing because I can select one of this, or I can select the entire thing, right? Separate that selection. I'll take this particular part, invert it, delete all the other parts, the faces. Then I can do my shape insert here. So I can insert this, right? Insert again, and then extrude along normals on this side. So that's cool. I'm just going to create some holdings around here, and that looks fire actually. The only thing I think I didn't do was define the center of this, and that would be tricky to do right now. But I'm going to try to use this as a reference. So I'm going to bring cursor to selected, and then the origin of this is going to go to the 3D cursor. So with this, I can bring in an array, right, and run that array on a circle. I need 10 of those duplicates. Okay, that's cool. I can apply that array, select all of that, and then I'm going to merge by distance. Wow, what's going on? Merge by distance. Can I reduce the amount of merge by distance to say this amount? So that's cool. We have our shape, but something that is not working right now is inside here. I'm going to go back to the array. We need a holding loop right outside here. So that's cool. Apply the array. We're going to merge by distance again, and that's cool. I like the shape. Then right here I can easily join with this and then connect these two meshes together. Delete vertices, then we can connect both. I just want, okay, I'm going to bridge, right, and then create some holdings. Something going on here. What if I select this and dissolve this edge or delete these vertices? Then with this, I can extrude on the Z, scale that down, and then just bridge with this simply. I'm going to merge 0.0000. Okay, that's cool. Right here, I can add some holding loops, but there's one weird edge that I see. I don't know what this edge is doing. There's a weird edge around here. As a matter of fact, maybe I can select this and just bevel. Or maybe I can use the L select in the Make Machine tool and just bevel that holding. Okay. I'm going to take all of this and GC. There's something going on down here. Like, what's all this squeeze about? And this is supposed to be like a very, very strong edge. I mean, okay, we're done with that. I think this shape down here, let's see. I'm going to look at the side and model this. So, first of all, I think a loop on this side, but I think it's going to affect this circle. Yeah, see it right here. Definitely going to affect. So, can I detach this from the entire mesh itself? Let's see. Select more. P to separate that selection. I can take all of this and just suck it in. It doesn't work anymore. It's now looks weird actually. Let me see if I can localize the effect. So for example, this right here, I can just bevel and extrude in SY. Insert. Think I can SY a little bit. Extrude once. Extrude again. Extrude a little bit. So I can put this at this point, but can I select this entire loop down to this point and GZ to kind of make that part rounder, right? And then this part, GG. GG. Okay. So I think that's pretty much the shape. I'm just going to do the same thing for down here. GZ, make that round, and then this part, GY, make this round. So that's cool. That's like a good shape. Right here, I can add in a loop and then separate that edge. So with that, I can fill that face and want to create that button. So that button looks something like this to me. First of all, I'm going to clear out all of these vertices, dissolve vertices, and then this, I'm going to GZ up to this point. And what we're looking at is something like this. extrude, on grid fill, extrude, then GG. This part I probably also want to extrude. So right here needs to be extruded a little bit too. But I think this part is rounded off. Cheesy. This entire edge. Same with this entire edge. Cheesy. Just like so. Then this part and this part I'm going to bevel. Right. Then all of this. I'm also going to bevel. G. Okay. Um this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge will be beveled in just like so. Then I'm going to add in a bevel and then a sub D. Before I add in a bevel, there's one important part that I feel like I need to work on. So I'm going to isolate this, and then bevel this. I'm going to bring origin to geometry so I can just flip this to the other side. All right. So I'm just going to add in a bevel. If I can add in that bevel, maybe it's because of this edge. So I'm just going to join on this side and then take out this dissolve this edge basically. So flip, I'm going to mirror, apply that mirror, then let's add the bevel again and see. Okay, still being an issue on this side, so I have to redistribute that to, I mean, maybe even this needs to just go off like so. Dissolve edge. Can I do it like this? I'm going to undo. all the way back here. All the way back to this bevel was made, like right here. And I'm going to think about this bevel in another way, actually. Okay. Yeah, I think I was able to achieve the shape. So shader to smooth, bring that resolution down to 2. What else? What else? What else? What else? So I'm going to go to the back and then see what else can be modeled. I'm looking at this buttonholes and I am definitely going to use, what's going on here? For these buttonholes, I'm definitely going to use booleans for them. So on this, I'm going to bring in a cylinder, but I'm going to bring 3D cursor back to the center of the scene. I'm going to bring in a cylinder. I think cylinder is going to be 24 sides actually. Or let's do 32, maybe higher resolution. And then we're going to RX 90. Right, so we can just position this. I think this should be around here, scale down. I want to quickly check if there's no charts. Okay, that's cool. So I'm going to scale this and I'm going to GY this and SY. GY. So that's cool. Right here, I'll shade smooth. Right here, I'll create a difference on those. Then all of this is just going to be copied across. So copy this to this point, copy this to this point, Shift D X, Shift D down to this, and Shift D down to this point. So that's cool. I'll turn off all of that cutter and I would like to bring in a screw. So in order to bring in a screw, what I can do is probably bring in a cutter and then I'll duplicate that cutter, move it to a different collection, and then I'm going to turn this into a solid. Right, I can turn off the cutters now. We don't need them anymore. Right here, I can just use one as a sample for, I'm going to separate by loose parts. Right, and then I'm going to bring all the geometry to individual origins. So this right here, I'm going to GY all the way in. And what we're looking at is something like this. So we're going to select boundary loops first of all. I'm going to bevel that. Maybe, no. I'm going to bevel that. And the reason I'm not applying scale is that I want to see if I can copy the object data from this one screw to the other ones and, it just works perfectly. So right here, I want to join, maybe join, and then join. So right here, I can select those. Maybe I need that circle to be inside a little more. Like select this and just insert more. So on the front, I can join, 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 and then maybe join right here. So I think in here can just be extruded in just like so. So I can GY this. So with this, can I shade auto smooth and then this is humongous. Like this screw is huge. I'm not supposed to join that thing like that, man. So let's join all over again. So right here, join, 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 and then join. So with this, I can extrude, shade auto smooth. I can link all of these screws down to this one. Let's see. Object data. It worked. Thank goodness. So that's cool. Next up, I think this detail down here, do I need to? I mean, I'm not sure, bro. I can select this entire loop. GG. And select this entire part. Delete those faces. It's now round. GG. So I'm using this to hold up the shape, basically. Okay. So I can select this Shift D, right? Nope. Shift D. Nope. Shift D. Separate that selection. Then with this, I can grid fill on that. I'll scale this down. G to this position. And then I can extrude this outward like so. Right? With this, I can put an edge here, put an edge here. And then this scale. So I think this edge, I'm basically going to do a Y and offset. Nope, that's not working. Can I just bevel it instead? So that's cool. The bevel is cool. But before I do that, I want to achieve this effect first of all. So this effect looks something like this to me. I'm going to just use a knife tool on here. Delete this face. And then I think a knife tool on here also to delete this face. So that's cool. Right here, I can go to the side and then just extrude this out to this point. So that's nice. I can go to view, frame selected, and I can fill that, fill, and then fill. So that looks good. I'm going to have to tighten up all of this though. Tighten up all of these edges. Mm. Dissolve that edge. It's not affecting anything in front. Can I do this instead? Let's see. I'm going to select all of this edge. All right. And then this, I'm going to select and shift E. That's cool. Dissolve this edge. I'm going to bring back all of that information. I think this face right here seems a bit round, so I'm going to insert that a little bit. Then all of this, I'm going to move to the edge a little more so that it's much more tighter. G. This has to go in. Shade auto smooth. This inner part needs to be closed. Join, join. Okay. There's a pinch around here. Yep. That's done. What's this? GY. I think that should also apply to the booleans. GY. All right. So I think that's pretty much it. This grows on here. I'm not sure I'm going to put it in actually. Or even if I want to put it in, I'll probably just put it in with a texture. Let's see. I think I can actually achieve this shape. So we're looking at something like this. And bring the front. Looking at something like this. Down. all the way to this point. Right. Close up on this part. So that's cool. If I dissolve this edge, does it disturb anything? Let's see. It doesn't, so that's cool. So you see the shape. What's going on with this shape is it's a little bit rounded on the side. So all of this probably needs to be tighter, actually. Looking at this mesh, if I apply this subdivision, just look at how dense this is. This is too dense, too dense. And that's because I'm just trying to overuse subdivision to cover up some modeling issues. This is supposed to be how dense this is, and this is even too much safe. But it's cool. What else? I think if I don't put those grooves, I might just not be achieving the look or the quality that I'm actually going for. So I'm going to try to add those grooves. I think right here. Rotate, scale down, and S, Y, Y, X, X, Z, Z. Scale all the way out to this point. So we have that. I'm going to shift D to this point and S, Z, Z, I think. So with that, I can shift D, repeat all of that right to that point, and I think this one right here, height, height, height. So maybe I can bring back all that I've hidden and shift D, bring to this point and Z twice. That's cool. Right here, I want to hide this, right? And then I would only select one of it. Let me see if I apply scale if it's going to work. Select these two edges and just bevel. Right? After the bevel, am I able to like link all of this to this effect? Let me see. Nope, I'm not. So I think applying the scale messed that up. So I'm going to go all the way back here and then select this and then just bevel. or can I use a bevel modifier? So can I link those data? No, I can't. Woo! So I think this has to be manual. I'm going to join all of those, isolate that, come to the side, and then select. After selecting all of this, I'm going to bevel them. Let's see. Bevel. I'm going to apply scale and then bevel. That's cool. I'm going to unhide that. Select this and GX. That's cool. I'm going to select this and do a difference boolean on those. And then some of it that isn't connecting with the surface, I'm going to come to the side view and just start realigning some of this. For example, this, I'm going to GY or G, is it GX? Okay. GX. 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 RC. That's cool. GX. Enough to RC a little bit. GX. Enough to RC. GX. GX. After RC. GX. RC. LGX, and then last but not the least RC, but I would GX RC. Okay. That's cool. I think for this, probably need to change. I don't think this is cutting. Mm-mm. Why is this bullion not working? Oh sh. I think this is going to be applied with texture. I really don't know why the bullion isn't working. Let's see if I apply the sub D. Does it work better? Okay. I'm just going to delete that, and I think I'm done with this. I'm going to undo to when I apply the sub D. Yep. So yeah, this took way longer than I thought, and I think that's how it be sometimes with some of these models that you feel like might just be a walk in the park. You start it and it's just going just going crazy. But like yeah, I think this is kind of a learning for me because there was a lot of back and forth in this model. But yeah, it's cool. So that's about it, guys. Let me see how long I was here. I was here for an hour and nearly 40 minutes. I'm just going to check the stream, make sure we're all good over there. So yeah, that's about it, guys. So long, and until I see you guys in the next one.